Hello, welcome back to Iggy's Toy Parade and Soldier Review. This is your host, Iggy, and today we're going to be looking at a vehicle manufactured by 21st Century Toys under their Ultimate Soldier banner. And this is a German Kettenkrad. And a Kettenkrad was known as the SDKFC2 and is a light track motorcycle. It weighed about 2,822 pounds and had a load capacity or payload of 717 pounds. It had a Opel Olympia four-cylinder engine, which was 1,500 cc, 36 horsepower. It had a range of approximately 155 miles road and 110 cross country, and it could achieve a maximum speed of 44 miles per hour. Now, this concept was first developed in 1939 and went into production in 1940 and adopted by the Army or Wehrmacht in 1941. It was used, the idea behind it was to use it for Fallschirmjäger, and it was for towing a small cart, which they could put ammunition in. Sometimes they would put a mortar, and other times they would have a spool of wire in the back, and they could lay telephone cable that way more quickly and efficiently. Now, this one is not painted in any camouflage scheme. It's got that strange bluish gray color that was used by Ultimate Soldier for their vehicles. Later, they would produce one that was camouflaged and looks more appropriate. I think I have a picture here of the SDKFC, which you can see here. This is the camouflaged version. This is the chart with the statistics that I was reading to you. Iggy's not smart enough to remember these details. That's quite a bit of information. I hope I didn't bore you with that. You could see one of these in the movie Saving Private Ryan, where he said, well, we'll trick the Germans into chasing the rabbit into the village, referring to this vehicle as the Rabbit. And I don't think the Germans would have been so stupid as to follow this vehicle into the town, because the town would offer plenty of ambush opportunities for an opposing force. You know, they could be on the second or third floor with a bazooka or a machine gun, such as they did in the movie, although I don't think they had a bazooka available. But it was not a wise move, and as you could see with Saving Private Ryan, the Germans regretted following this little thing into the town. But Ultimate Soldier produced a number of larger vehicles for collectors, and they were enthusiastically received. They had an M3 Stuart tank, which was rather ambitious. I wish they had made other tanks, because you can get 1/6 scale remote control tanks. However, they are extremely costly, several $1,000s. So the one made by Ultimate Soldier, I think it was over $100, but it was well worth it. It was a nice vehicle. They also made motorcycle with sidecar. They made a Harley Davidson, a Kubelwagen, a Schwimmwagen. So they had a number of vehicles that they made available for collectors of Ultimate Soldier. Now, Hasbro introduced their Jeep, what they called the 5-star Jeep, in 1965. And I have a Sears catalog in my lap here, which I'm going to show to you. And that's the Jeep they introduced in 1965. So Hasbro and Ultimate Soldier were aware that, G.I. Joe, it was the kids who were driving sales. Of course, in the 1990s, it was adults who were driving the sales. Kids weren't so much interested in it as were adults. And Hasbro decided to license a company called Irwin to make vehicles. They weren't satisfied with them, though, and if you're familiar with these, you'll know why. They were kind of on the cheap side, but when we were kids, these things were fabulous. And I remember the kids across the street having this with a Japanese sun on the side, and they had two Japanese soldiers, and they also had this, what is called the staff car, but is probably based on the Kuberwagen. Did you know they were Volkswagen was trying to sell something that looked like the Kugelwagen in America, and they called it Der Dingus. And of course, dingus is a slang word for a particular, well, let's say Ford had the same problem when they tried to sell the Pinto in South America, because a Pinto is the same as a dingus. And I'll leave it to your imaginations what a Pinto and a dingus is, but it never caught on. I did see one in Santa Barbara, California, and it actually had a mock-up of a MG 42 on a tripod in the back there. And I thought that was pretty cool that they did that. It was made of rubber or something. But Hasbro realized that the kids were very interested in having the vehicles, and these two items would probably be more Korean War and these World War II. And G.I. Joe, as you know, was not World War II. He was a Korean War figure. You can see that here. Now, Hasbro only officially produced several vehicles. One was a crash crew truck or fire truck, and the other was the 5-star vehicle. This carrying case here, I have one of these. This was made by Ideal Toys. I'm not sure why it says G.I. Joe there, unless it refers to this, because this was not licensed by Hasbro. Here's the James Bond figure. I never had that as a kid. Man from U.N.C.L.E., Elia Kiriakin. Okay. So that's the Ultimate Soldier STKFC2. And this is an illustration showing the camouflaged version, which is, it would more than likely look more like this. And this is from a book called Weapons of World War II. I think the author of this book is a German. This might be a translation of his book. At any rate, this is very valuable when doing research. Okay, now there's some things about it that I'm not sure about, like this here, this tarp. It's got circular things to attach it, but as you see up there, they're square, so I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing a piece, I don't know. When I took this out of storage, the mirror was off, the headlamp was off, this tarp was off. And I think that's it. but it was easy to put back together. I may have even taken them off myself. So let's take a better look at the vehicle, because you came to see the vehicle and not to hear Iggy drone on about statistics, which I found here. So let's lift it up, see if we can get some different views here. Here's the rear of it. I was tempted to look up this license plate number to see if I would get a hit. There's mud flaps with reflectors. Oh, shoot. It's heavy enough that it's hard to manipulate here. Now, to operate this, if you wanted to go left, you would turn your steering wheel. Now, I don't know if this operates the same way that a tank does. For instance, in a tank, they would have something like this. However, if you wanted to go left, you would turn your steering mechanism to the right. And if you wanted to go right, you would turn it to the left. And the reason for that is it would cause one of the tracks to stop. For instance, if you were going to go right, you would stop this track, and this track over here would keep moving and turn the vehicle this way. However, I don't know if the steering here had that same function. I noticed there's several levers here. I don't know if that was to stop the track or not. But all tracked vehicles, you had to stop one track in order to make a turn. So there's the vehicle, Ultimate Soldier. I flipped it over and found that this was manufactured in 1999. I'm not sure when I purchased it because I don't have the date listed in my journal. For some reason unknown to me. Oh God, look what I did. Here. I wrote Kettenkrad with no date. And I also did the same thing with the Schwimmwagen. Now, I remember the Schwimmwagen was given to me for my birthday by my friend Doug. And I remember his wife was really embarrassed because we went over to the community pool across the street from his house. And I jumped in the pool with the Schwimmwagen and was playing, having a good time. And I remember Doug was a little nervous that he didn't want his neighbors to see what we were doing. And I'm sure that his wife didn't think that was too cool that we were doing that. But as you know, Iggy is a little immature, and so I had no problem jumping into the pool and playing with the Schwimmwagen. So that's it for my SDKF Z2, better known as a Kettenkrad. Now, Kettenkrad is a shortened version of the actual name. And it just basically means tracked motorcycle or bicycle or something along those lines. Okay, that's it for Iggy. I want to thank you for coming along. And if you've joined the Iggy Army, I want to thank you for doing that. We've had a lot of people enlisting in the Iggy Army recently. And I want to thank all of you for getting Iggy with it. You know what? It's fun to get Iggy with it because look at all these cool things. And Iggy likes to show off. He's a show off. Not really, but I am showing off. This is the one thing in my life that I do like to show off is my collection. So I apologize for my hubris. And I hope you don't think I'm stuck up as a result of showing off like this. But I thought you would be interested in seeing these things again if you haven't seen them in your I guess, man cave. I hope you guys have a man cave that you can set things up. So that's it for me. Let's why don't we hop in the Kettenkrad? It fits three, two back here, one up here, and we can travel off into the sunset while we lay a phone cable behind us. That's it for me. I'm going to meet you at Roy Rogers Ranch, where we're going to have baked beans from the black kettle over the campfire. We're going to have bacon, apple pie, maybe small slices of fruit like pineapple and strawberries. That would be fun. That's it for me. I'm just going to say goodbye.